Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another NPC recreation. Today, a nice simple one. I decided to create a higher character to look a little bit like Jill Warrick, one of the main characters from Final Fantasy XVI, a game that has surely taken the world by storm and certainly captivated me beyond 50 hours at this point in just the main storyline. So I'm really enjoying the game, and I wanted to take a little bit of time just to create another character. Previously we created Benedicta Harmon with varying degrees of success depending on how you look at it, and I thought, I don't know, let's see if we can make the dominant of ice herself, Jill Warrick. Now we have a quite basic template to go off of, so I tried to replicate that as closely as I could. The closest thing I could find though was this fantastic chess piece known as the Salon Server's vest, which is something that was craftable and added to the game more recently, and we've dyed that pure white. And I'll side by side, I think you'll agree, the waistcoat and the striped nature of that and those kind of like ruffled arms work perfectly. The only downside with this is that there is far too much forearm shown, and it's going to make it very difficult to bridge that with gloves. But it was this, or maybe a couple of other alternatives with slightly longer sleeves but without the waistcoat. So I decided to go for this. To actually make it look a little bit longer like an actual dress, we actually used a piece of cash shop glamour, unfortunately. I'm sorry. This is the Collagiate skirt from a Collagiate attire. This is the skirt version. The Collagiate skirt is fairly unavoidable to use for things like this. It is really lovely. If you get anything from the cash shop, I would definitely recommend this specific outfit just for the skirt alone. It is really useful to have a short ruffled skirt. There are some available in the game, but unfortunately stuff like Quaintrells and a few other alternatives just don't work with this chest piece, which is a real problem, I think you'll agree. And then we've dyed that pure white as well to match the top. To go with the gloves then, honestly any gloves would work for this. They just kind of have to sort of peter out a little bit. I ended up going for something nice and easy to obtain. These are the Augmented Shire Philosopher's gloves. Because we're a caster, we've gone for Red Mage, as Jill uses a rapier as her character, so a Red Mage would fit that perfectly. And we've dyed that dark blue dye. You can actually go and get yourself the gloves, if you're interested, from his mainer in Idleshire off of the Disciple of Magic 2 tab for 345 poetics, so it's not going to cost you an absolute arm and a leg to get something like this. They're not a bad set of gloves. I've dyed them dark blue. I think they match pretty well. There are some better alternatives out there, but honestly, with the class restrictions in place for what I wanted to go for, as well as some other limitations, there aren't that many decent gloves. And of course, we're having to deal with the gap on the forearm anyway that the original character does not have, so that's unfortunate. And then to wrap this, at least armor-wise up, there are some thigh boots. I went for the Ishgardian thigh boots. This is obtainable with 30,000 MGP in the Mandeville Gold Saucer. We've dyed those dark blue dye as well, as to not stand out too much. There probably isn't enough blue in this particular outfit I've put together, but because of the waistcoat on, the inability to dye that, when you try to dye the chest piece, it actually dyes the white section. I tried to mute the colours, so whilst we'll still have a little bit of blue on the character, we tried to make it blend into that jacket as much as possible, and for that I had to get the darkest blue possible, so we went for dark blue dye. Alternatively, there is a really good set of thigh boots that would work perfectly for this, and that's the actual job gear for Red Mage. As soon as you hit level 89 in the game. Unfortunately, my Red Mage is a boosted character for the purposes of this video, and we've been, building bits and pieces for it and buying bits for it. So I do not have access to endgame at the moment on it. But I think the Ishgardian thigh boots are pretty good. Any thigh boots with kind of like straps or buckles are going to work quite well, although you don't want them to be too flared. I think we've done a fairly decent job with these. And then finally, whilst Jill has a slightly more metallic looking rapier in the game, and there are lots like that, that you could use. Obviously, we wanted to go for something that represented Shiva, so we went for the True Ice Degen, which is a drop, or you can get it from the weapon coffer from the level 50 extreme version of Shiva as an encounter, as a trial. You can't actually get a craftable for Red Mage. You actually have to get it to drop in there. I didn't even realize this existed until I had a look. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So it has a slight glow at night. It looks pretty good. And yeah, it's the thing that sort of brings it closer to being more like Shiva. But realistically, if you were going for more of a Jill look, you'd want sort of like a brass blade or a steel blade. Anything like that. A little bit slightly ornate, maybe, with the guard, but yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a pretty decent attempt, honestly. I think the jacket is the thing that's the closest to anything. Let me know if you've got any suggestions of what could improve this glamour. Again, I didn't go through the NPC creation side of things because, honestly, Jill is kind of a basic character. Grey-haired with this hairstyle that's hard to replicate without the headband, and a fairly sort of, I don't know, basic looking face. She's just, I don't know, she's got a great character, great personality that makes up for it in Final Fantasy 16 at least. Anyway, let me know what you think about this one. I'm really loving 16. More Final Fantasy 14 videos on the way, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.